Welcome to Athens Kaleidoscope. This is Nan Michael, and I'm here with my co-producer, Jane Penwell. And Jane, this week my daughter saw our last program, and she said I was grouchy.
Oh.
And so I guess I'm the bad cop and you're the good cop.
Have you ever seen the videos of the grumpy cat on YouTube? Well, go to YouTube and look at grumpy cat.
Well,
you'll see grumpy.
I told her that we just do what's natural, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
We do. We're just
You
ourselves.
You just weren't feeling it, I guess.
And now we have to begin. We got lots of stuff
This
today.
is a kaleidoscope.
Hi, it is a kaleidoscope. But first we're going to have a little quiz. And Jane is going to quiz me first.
Oh, okay. I'm going to quiz you first. Okay, I have to read something here. This is, by the way, taken from Compass, which is the Ohio University communication that we get every day. Well, we don't every weekday.
So if I had read it, I would know the answer, right?
Well, it's not really an answer. It's going to be what you think about, no right or wrong. Okay, so there's a movie that's going to be made in Athens this summer. Pearl Gluck, visiting assistant professor of film, is shooting a drama about sex trafficking here in early July. She spent 2 years interviewing, finding her issue with adults who sell their own children or relatives for sex. That's what she's interested in.
So you're going to ask if I'm for it or against it?
No, I'm going to assume you would be against it.
Okay,
and that
thank you.
Your daughters were never sold for sex, or your son, for that matter. No, what I was going to ask you, or my question is, when I worked in the women's prison, this was a very common thing. Most all the women who are in prison have been sex trafficked at one time or another, either by their own family or by pimps. This is extremely, in fact, I would say one of the things that would almost assure that you would go to prison as a woman is if you were a victim of sex trafficking. So
Now, what are you basing that on?
well, my interviews, the people, 8 years, I worked 8 years in the women's prison. So,
Oh, in the women's prison, okay.
yeah, so I had many, many, many talks and interviews and discussions, and we decided, I mean, this is not scientific, but among ourselves as the staff, at least 85% of the women there had been sex trafficked in one way or another.
And how do you figure that connects with them being in prison?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the woman's self-esteem, her feelings about herself, her feelings about her ability to act in society. Your ability to overcome that and to become a confident person, once that's happened to you, it's very rare for somebody to overcome that.
And they're exposed to a life, I'm sure, of drugs and that kind of thing.
Part of it is they get, hooked on drugs, heroin usually, and then the person withdraws that if they don't agree to keep going or if they cause trouble. And there's a lot of physical violence too.
Okay, so what's my question?
Okay, so my question to you is, as a society, what can we do about this? Who's at fault here? Is it the person selling the person? Is it the person buying the person? And because I think we have to determine that before we can decide what we would do about it. We know this horrible thing is going on, yet we do nothing, really, as a society to stop it. What can we do? Is there any way that we can act as a society to stop this from happening?
I hate to be a bad cop, a grumpy
cat.
But to me, that there's so much going wrong with everything, you almost have to pick what to try and fix. Well, I was reading that some of the judges are using alternatives programs to prison, you know, saying community service plus get in this program. But I just read that those alternative programs are usually private, and the broke person can't afford them.
Right,
And
exactly.
they just build up debt because there's some women in prison for not having enough money to pay their traffic tickets.
Well, there you go. Well, why are we concentrating on the women? How about the men who are buying the women?
You're the one that picked the women.
Well, that's true, but I'm hypothetically saying, what about the men who are, in other words, instead, when there's a bust, when the cops go out, they always arrest the women, you know, because they're in the act, so to speak. Well, how about those men that are buying? And by the way, these aren't just adult women. These are young children sometimes too, and teenagers. So I don't think as a society we really believe that this is as bad as it is.
Well, we could require parenting classes before people get a marriage license.
Well,
Really, I think parenting styles have a lot to do with it.
well, yes, and drugs has a lot to do with it. It underlies all this too, because if somebody is going to sell their child for money, that money is probably going to be spent on drugs. You know, they're desperate. They got a monkey on their back, and they're desperate to get the money they need to get that next fix, heroin or whatever it is. So underneath it all, a lot of times, not 100%, but a lot of times. But listen to this, speaking of parenting classes. One of the women that I worked with she was adopted, if you want to call it adopted, as a baby. Her quote-unquote parents went to some other city, I don't know what city, let's just say St. Louis, make that up, and got a baby from somebody and brought the baby home with them to Cleveland, and for the sole purpose of selling that child for sex. That for no other reason. It wasn't their child. You know, they went and got this kid.
Now, that baby was not your friend.
No, of course not.
She was, what? Of course not. That's
Well, I mean,
elitist.
no, but those people would never be. I mean, how could I be friends with those people? It wouldn't be possible.
Not those people, but the baby.
Oh, the girl that was in yes. Well, she was there for murdering her father, her quote unquote father. He just pushed her too far one too many times, and she killed him. And no, we weren't friends, but I knew her, and she was part of a group that I worked with. So she finally got out, you know, but she'd been in there, I think, about 20 years, and it had taken her every one of those 20 years to find out who she was and to, you know, create herself, so to speak, an identity for herself. So the things that happened.
So she was the baby.
She was, the girl that was in prison was the baby, yes. And
okay.
she told me this story.
Okay, well, probably it needs to go back to something like how we elect the president and laws limiting campaign finance. I mean, you know, it's just kind of rotten. I hate to be like CNN, but I mean, things are not the way they should be, and I think you have to go back to the power structure in order. A lot of the prison systems are now privatized, and they have lobbies to try and keep sentences long and well-staffed.
Well, if to make a profit,
Yeah.
however they can.
Oh, yeah, and that takes you to the income tax, too. You see how far it goes.
Right.
And the 1% and the blah, blah.
As Macbeth said, there's something rotten in the state of Denmark.
Denmark?
Yeah.
How about America?
Well, whatever state you like, there's something rotten.
Okay, did I pass?
I think so, yes. So
Okay.
we'll move on to your question for me.
Okay. Now, I think since we are maybe running out of time, I'm just going to ask you one question.
Okay.
And my one question is, do you know what descansos is?
No.
Descansos? Mm-mm. Okay, descansos is from the Spanish place of rest as of a funeral procession. And a cross placed at the site of a violent, unexpected death.
Oh.
And they dot our highways now. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to look at a little bit of footage of some descansos in Ohio that I taped recently. Now there's one. Mm-hmm. Probably he was in an accident and killed in that one spot.
I would think, yes.
And his name and his dates are on there. Now this is on a bank, and incidentally, these are on Route 7. Mm-hmm. There's 2 or 3 little markers up on a bank facing the road.
Oh dear.
And I noticed and here's one that has existed at least 6 years since I've been driving to Gallipolis. And they keep the grass cut, and it's a couple evidently and a child. They keep the grass cut. At Christmas time, they have Christmas lights on it. And they really care for that.
Mm-hmm. It looks like there's a light there. Is
It
that
looks like it, and there's a
spotlight?
statue of an angel there too. And this is on 33, actually, in the Meridian.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So as I drive, I see new signs of. At first, I thought they had to do with people that were too poor to afford gravestones, but somebody assured me that wasn't so.
No, I don't think so.
But actually, the largest descansos in the world dedicated to a woman's memory is in Nelsonville, Ohio.
Well, for Pete's sake.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
The cross on the hill.
Oh, I didn't realize that that's what that was.
Yes,
Oh.
and actually, it was erected in April 1973 as a memorial to Mrs. Elizabeth Smith Schwartz by her husband, Walter L. Schwartz. It's 4 by 4 feet. The cross arm is 25 feet in length.
Wow.
And the body is 65 feet tall. And the base rises 8 feet above the hilltop.
I was going to say, it really is big.
So since then, at one time, it was the second largest in the world, but not now.
Oh, good.
So you didn't know the answer.
I did not, no. I've learned something today. How about that?
All right, and it's spelled, I'm not Spanish, so Descansos. When I first saw them also, I read up on them, and in some states they're illegal. And one reason they're discouraged by some is that the mowers when mow the
Yeah.
grass, it gives them some trouble.
Yeah.
But the one on Route 7 there, they come and they keep the grass cut. And at one point, at least in some states, started out with the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. That this means that somebody was drunk. But I certainly think that's interesting. It catches my attention every time I drive by.
Yeah, yes. And it's sad. It's sad to think that there are so many people are getting killed on our highways.
Right.
You know, it would be nice. Like Google has created this new car that drives itself and supposedly would be,
I hope GM's not doing that.
well, they're saying this car will be almost accident proof because it has all kinds of special sensors and everything. But the funny thing is it doesn't have a steering wheel. In other words, you couldn't drive it if you wanted to. And I would never buy that. I mean, it's okay if it drives itself on the freeway, but I'm too much of a control freak to go riding around in a car with no steering wheel, no brakes, no way. No, thank you. Not
Okay,
for me.
well, I'm kind of concerned about our time. You want to ask me another quick one? That wasn't quick. Do you want to ask me another one?
Okay, are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
Okay, back on the same theme,
Oh.
kind of the same thing of women. I don't know, I got stuck on this today. I heard on TV a lot of criticism of Kim Kardashian. You know who she is, right?
Kind of.
Yeah, she's not a movie star or anything. She's just somebody that got famous through reality TV. And she recently got married to this rapper, Kanye West. And now she's becoming kind of a style icon. And she has a little baby, just turned a year old. And she was photographed in New York City pushing this baby in a stroller with an outfit on that showed almost entire breasts on both sides. They were just bulging out of this outfit. And there's been a lot of controversy about that. You know, saying, well, what does she think she's doing? And, you know, she's got a baby. Is it obscene for a mother to be pushing her baby around in a stroller with both of her breasts hanging out, do you think?
Well, I think that goes to the law. What does the law say? If the
It's
law
legal.
says, huh?
In New York City, it's legal for a woman to be topless in New York City. They found this out after everybody complained that it's legal. I mean, she wasn't topless, but she could have been. She could have walked around topless in New York City and not broken the law.
I'm speechless.
Oh boy, look what I did. I got damn speechless. Woo.
Okay, let me rush to the next
Just
one.
think about that for a while.
Well, I see no problem with women nursing in public. I mean,
No, me neither, but they don't. But she's parading around, pushing a baby stroller with paparazzi following her, and both of her boobs. I guess it covered, you know, the important part. They were bulging out. Tasteless for sure. I mean, there's no question that that's extremely bad taste. But it's not against the law.
Right.
So she can do it. And I guess for some people, if you can do something, then you do it. There's no such a thing as you can do it, but you shouldn't. No, if you can do it, you do it. So there we go. That's our popular culture today.
Okay. Okay, I want to ask you something I didn't know the answer to until I looked up the answer to the question I was going to ask.
Oh, good.
What does no brake engine mean on the highway?
We see that a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
It's for trucks, I know that.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. Other than that, it's for trucks. I don't know what it means. I assume it means that they better be able to stop.
No, it doesn't mean that. It means, and I think I have the wrong paper here, no engine braking.
Uh-huh.
Big trucks can use Jake brakes, they call them, to slow down.
Uh-huh.
It's considered engine braking versus using the real brakes. It's similar to downshifting and using the transmission to slow the vehicle down.
Oh.
And the reason that they outlaw it among lots of stretches, don't they?
Yes, it seems
Is that
to me.
it's noisy.
Oh, it's noisy. Not ineffective, but noisy. Well, I would rather have them be noisy and stop than quiet and keep on
You know,
going.
in some states they have those
Personally.
escape routes.
Yeah.
You've seen those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of scary. When I was in North Carolina this past summer, losing my train of thought. This is it. This is
Uh-huh.
bad news.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was thinking about Asheville, which is really in the mountains in case you've never been there. And I can remember driving there. There were lots of those.
Well, I
escape
remember
things.
now, I was driving and there was this truck behind me that started flashing its lights and getting closer to me, and I zoomed away, you know.
Good idea.
But, okay, where shall we go next?
Well, I think that we have a couple of little videos to see. Oh, darn. That's my phone.
Oh.
We have a couple of videos to see, don't we? That we're going to look at and talk about.
Yes, we do, and, oh, okay. I go to Gallipolis frequently, and when I was down there a week ago, they had no water.
In the whole town?
Huh?
The whole town?
The water line was broken, and I went down there to have lunch with my daughter, and Bob Evans was closed. Golden Corral was closed because they were on city water, and the only restaurant we could find to eat in was on county water, and that was Subway.
Oh.
So we're going to the Ohio River, and first we're going to see the level that the recent rains put upon the river. So take it away, camera person. Look at there.
Oh my gosh.
The water got that high and deposited that log on top of that great big thing.
That's amazing.
I think that might be called an icebreaker. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I grew up on the Ohio River, but near Wheeling, West Virginia, not down here.
Uh-huh.
And we had floods every couple of years, you know. And
Uh-huh. Well, that is pretty, that's a lot. And here come some fishermen, and you can see them next to it, how they are kind of dwarfed by it. They're not, they don't go up all that way.
they've disappeared now. Here they come.
Ah, here they come.
Yes. Oh, I believe, I never can understand how you can fish standing up
How?
in a boat. I mean, in a boat, of course, from the bank, but.
Next, we're going to go a few feet away from that place and see where the emergency people are providing water in bags.
Bags? Huh.
And the people who are doing the hard work are our old friends, the inmates.
Oh, well, you know, that's not a bad idea because that gets them out. They get to do something for the community.
See, there are signs up for people. And this is down at the, what you call it, park in the River Park. And those in Browns, if you recall, Brown is honor inmates.
Yes, yes.
So blues are not honor inmates.
Right, right.
And I didn't realize that when I was there.
Really?
But in editing, well, in the editing, I didn't realize they were inmates until I saw the back of some shirts. So.
Yeah, because khaki is a color you might think anybody, any group of people might wear khaki.
Yeah.
So.
And sitting there watching them, you can see there's a prison staff member. So, and it was a hot day, and their emergency, that's impressive that they're that ready for something like that.
Yes, it is. It really is.
A lot of water.
A lot of people needed that.
In plastic bags, clear plastic bags of water.
I've never seen that in my life. Always bottles, never bags. So, well, whatever it's in, I'm sure they were glad to get it. The people that didn't have it. That's like in Charleston when that chemicals leaked into the water. It seemed like it took them forever to get help to a lot of people. They were not as Johnny on the spot as Gallup police.
That's true.
I think it's very frightening to think. When I grew up, we had a well. It was our water in our well, okay? We didn't depend on anybody else. But nowadays, that's so rare. I mean, there's huge water systems. And I think it's scary to think of them going down because it's, what alternative do you have? Those people live by the river. They could get some river water and boil it, I guess. But a lot of people don't even have a source of water nearby.
Well, they buy these plastic containers. They pay money for water.
I guess, yeah, I'm sure.
And those plastic containers are accumulating in our oceans.
Well, you have to have it. That's one thing you have to have. You can get by with very little food, but you got to have water. So,
if you all haven't learned anything from Kaleidoscope, remember that you have to have water.
There you go. I think it's 72 hours you can go. Only 72 hours.
Okay, well, why don't you do that little movie review?
Okay. Well, I wanted to, this is kind of a plug because I encourage everybody to go see this movie. I think it's the feel-good movie of the summer, but not in any kind of a schmaltzy sense. It isn't schmaltzy at all. The name of the movie is Chef, as in chef of a restaurant. It's playing at the Athena right now, and it's just an excellent movie. The cast is great. The guy who plays the chef is fantastic in the part. There's a little kid, which, you might think, well, that's going to be schmaltzy, the chef and his kid. But it really isn't. Dustin Hoffman has a little tiny part. He's really good in it. He's the owner of the restaurant in which the chef is cooking, and then a series of events occur and the chef gets fired. So then what's he going to do? Well, his ex-wife, played by Sofia Vergara from Modern Family, is fantastic too. And they end up going to Miami, which is where they met the chef and Sofia in the first place. And in the process of being in Miami, he realizes that he wants to be on his own. He doesn't want to work for somebody else. And he gets a food truck. And it's old and battered, and they have to fix it up, and, a series of things happen. And it turns out that his food is good, and the food truck is a success. And I won't go any further. There you go. You saw a brief shot of the promo for the movie there. And him and his food truck, there it is again. And his food truck is called El Jefe, which is Spanish for the chef, I guess, the chief, anyway. And you can see the little boy up there in the corner. And Sofia Vergara, she's serving from the food truck after they all get back together again. But I'm not going to tell you what the whole story is. There's quite a lot of story there too, and how things work out. It's very artfully crafted that it works out. In the end, everything works out without being hokey or schmaltzy or anything like that. And it's just a feel-good, fun movie about something that you really think could happen. You know, I mean, it isn't one of these ones where they live on Madison Avenue, or, you know, or Park Avenue in New York and this fabulous. No, they're just regular people, and he loses his job like regular people do sometimes, and he has to figure out what to do about it. And it's just really a good, fun summer movie you could take your kid to if you didn't mind a few little swear words here and there.
Well, guess what?
What?
I saw a movie.
Oh, my goodness. In a movie theater?
Yes, my daughter was in town and she urges me to do things. So, and in addition to seeing a movie, which was Faulty Stars or something like that, The Fault in Our Stars. Oh, that actress was so good. Oh, she was so good. Anyway, and I also walked 2 miles in the peanut butter and jelly
Oh, did you?
5K. I just walked, and it was only 2 miles, but something my daughter arranged for me also.
She's
You know,
taking care of you.
We need to do this before we do anything else because I'll forget. We need to let people know that Access is back on the internet. We were with Bling, but they started charging us money. And so now we're on YouTube. A number of episodes of all of our shows, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's about 6 of every show.
Well, he went backwards. I don't know how far forwards he's going to go. Right now, last week's Kaleidoscope is on.
Well, there's 6 episodes of Kaleidoscope on there. And I
Now,
think that,
okay.
yes, and I think there's 6 episodes of every show
Oh, really?
now.
Oh, now.
Of course, there's hundreds more, but there are at least 6.
Okay. Well,
And to get to that, to the YouTube videos, you would go to the Access website, and there's a YouTube banner up there, and just click on it. It's very easy. If you have not had enough of Crone and Motormouth, you can find us on YouTube. So click away, folks. Enjoy.
and well, the Access, it's ACTV 23, right? And you can get,
That's the website, ACTV23.
and you can also
.com.
get on it by going to YouTube and doing something.
You could probably search on YouTube for Access TV Athens, Ohio. I bet. I don't know this. I haven't done it, but I bet you could.
And once you go there, you can have bring up the list, the program list, and then see many programs, actual clips from many of our programs on there, and then you can punch and go.
And if you love Kaleidoscope, you can binge watch Kaleidoscope. You can watch 6 episodes, one right after the other. Just think about that.
Well, speaking of loving Kaleidoscope, did you get any fan letters this week?
No, sadly.
But no hate letters
No,
either.
no. And nobody said anything hateful to me in Kroger's either, so there you go.
That's great.
No, I mean, nobody ever has said anything hateful to me in Kroger's, but I mean, I suppose there's always the chance. People stop me in Kroger's, they always have something nice to say. So if you have something nice to say and you see me in Kroger, come right up.
You've already told them if they hate us, they can come and get on television.
That's right. You can
told them last.
send us your hate mail. We'll read it right here. We don't mind.
Well, at the peanut butter 5K, there was a breakfast brunch at the Eclipse, and there was music, and Steve Zarate was playing and singing, and I asked him if he would. He was asking for suggestions, and I suggested the public access song. He said, "Oh no, don't make me sing that here." But we stayed and clapped, and so he softened up and sang it. Can we have that Zarate?
So we're going to hear Steve Zarate singing the Access
Song which he
Song.
wrote.
Which he wrote, and no, I certainly didn't even know existed, so this is going to be a treat.
Oh gosh, maybe I should play Dan's request now that you're filming me. Let's give it a try, Dan. I haven't played this in years, though. I was feeling low down, dirty and mean, 'cause I'd been working deep inside the big machine. Tried to find some honest answers on the television box, but nobody there would listen. They just talk, talk, talk. So till one night, quite by accident, I found, while remotely flipping channels all around, was my friend from down the street, and he was sitting on a couch. He was playing his guitar, and he was letting it all hang out. He sang, "You can do it too. You can do what I'm doing. You can put your message on community TV. Get yourself some public access. You won't hardly need to practice. Just have faith in what you're saying. Your creativity." Now with all the foolishness that's going on today, there's lots of things that I've been needing to say. There's only so long you can hold it in before you pop your cork, but we can't all be David Letterman and broadcast from New York. And so I went to see my guitar playing neighbor, and I said, "What is this public access deal where you labor?" He said, "Here, you take this camera out and document your views. Bring us footage when you're ready. You're on opposite the news." And then he sang, "You can do it too. You can do what I'm doing. You can put your message on community TV. Get yourself some public access. You won't hardly need to practice. Just believe in what you're saying and your creativity." Oh, well, I went and shot 3 pussycats, 2 paper boys, 1 mailman, woman and her children strolling to the park and back. An old couple walking and a crowd of rowdy boys. Then I mixed it all together with some slides and happy noise. Now not everyone has cable, I know, so not everyone can see my little show. But who knows, there might be one sad person all alone somewhere out there flipping through the channels, wondering if nobody cares, and perhaps they accidentally found me. And just maybe they heard me singing on TV. Then they say I don't have to focus on the networks anymore. I'll go get some public access just to be access. You won't hardly have to practice. Just believe in what you're saying and your creativity. Oh, get yourself some public access. You won't hardly have to practice. Just have faith in what you're saying and your creativity. Thanks, Fred. It's a song I wrote about 20 years ago that just got a request for, so if you liked it. Thanks.
All right. I love that song, and I love him, and I don't know how long ago he wrote it, but he sure has a good memory because he remembered every single word of it.
I'm always amazed by singers at how many songs they know.
Now, next, you know that I videotape the Poets Corner
Right.
every other week, and this week it ran over a little an hour in time, which it's got to get inside the hour, and they briefly discussed guns, and so I cut that off for us.
Oh.
So we'll watch a few seconds of a discussion on guns.
NRA has been fantastically successful in changing our culture. In fact, USA, as the arms merchant of the world, has changed the culture worldwide into one where guns are the first thought.
That shows how backward those people in India are. Why did they use stones? They could have used guns.
If you think that at some point you would be surprised that they put up tank barriers and anti-aircraft emplacements at the border of the red states and the blue states, do not be surprised. Because we are rapidly getting there.
Yeah,
we are Sunnis and Shiites, and we are Republicans and Democrats. I mean, how far away is this country from going the same route? Crazy idea of the day, but nonetheless, it has some traction, I think.
There's the group that even the NRA is kind of appalled at, and that's the group that wants to carry weapons publicly. So they're going into McDonald's and Walmarts with their weapons, showing their weapons. I think it might be in Texas.
You also noticed that the day after they said that, they recanted that.
Yeah.
It's perfectly all right to walk into McDonald's with your AK-47.
In fact, the only thing that is surprising, but I hope they will approve it very soon, is to say that every American citizen, because of the Second Amendment, has the right to have a bazooka and take it to McDonald's.
Right.
And then you can go to McDonald's in a...
Remember right after 9/11, everyone was saying they will not change our way of life?
They won. The terrorists won on 9/11.
I think guns
They conquered this country.
are a penile substitute.
Well, we always used to talk that way.
Well, I think it's true.
Washington Monument and all that kind of stuff.
So any woman.
In that control of populations are the main drive of power. And in the church around this country and in Europe is diminishing in its power to control. There is a vacuum, and that vacuum is being filled in other ways.
By the NRA. NRA has been...
Well, my daughter went to the Nelsonville Music Festival, as I mentioned last week. And she got some footage of this baby. Now, I know it's not very exciting for, female commentators to go gaga over babies and cats sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, this is worth looking at, I think.
I think pretty much everybody likes a baby, so I think people will enjoy it.
Okay.
Oh my God. That's so awesome. Oh Lord, that's great.
I'm just hearing what you're saying for the first time. Sounds like hallelujah for the first time. For the first time. Singing hallelujah for the first time. I miss you so good. 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 I miss but I'm not walking away. I'm just hearing what you're saying for the first time. Sounds like hallelujah for the first time. For the first time. Singing hallelujah for the first time. These are just friends running in these arms. I wish it was all true. Always been break like the trees in the world.
So how did you like the baby?
Oh,
Wasn't that cute?
yes, I like babies.
And when the huge mannequin in the parade started doing like that, the baby just looked up and smiled.
You'd think it would be afraid, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Scared.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to mention before we run out of time that Lois and Bob Whaley are celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary
Oh, my goodness.
on July the 2nd. It's going to be actually on July the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that remarkable?
It is. It is remarkable. My grandparents made it to 54. That's the longest that I know of. I made it to 15.
And they still walk a whole bunch, you know.
Well, I think it's marvelous that there are still people in this world that stay together till death do you part. I think that's pretty remarkable. So congratulations to them.
Yes.
Definitely. So we hope that everybody out there has enjoyed our little session today, and that you will be avidly interested enough to go to YouTube and check us out on YouTube, and that you'll be back with us again next week, because we'll be here.
And be prepared that initially our speech seems slowed down, but I think your brain adjusts a little bit, and so it speeds up. What you hear doesn't bother you.
Hope they don't speed me up too much, because you won't be able to understand me. If they
I
do.
hope so too.
I am motor mouth, remember. Have to to live up to my name.
Oh.
Okay, Athens.
And
it's
I
been
have
fun.
to live up to my name as being wise one.
There
she
you
says.
go. There you go. That's the meaning.
So,
Okay, goodbye, Athens.
2 hands.
Yes, well, I've got something in that hand, but there you go. It doesn't matter. Goodbye, Athens. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.
Yes.